I would like to talk briefly about Serial Experiments Lane. Lane used to be my favorite anime, and it sat in my top 10 even after Hidamari's sketch overtook it as my favorite anime. Lane was still in my top 10 for quite some time. Nowadays, you won't find it in my list of favorite anime. But why is that? Did I decide that I don't like Lane anymore? Well, this is a situation that I think is hard to explain without coming across like a, what's the word I'm looking for here? Contrarian. The simple way to phrase it is just, Lane became too popular and too culturally omnipresent, and normified, to the point where I didn't like it anymore. But what does that mean? You can't get away with saying stuff like that without someone being like, why do you care what other people think? If you like the anime, then you like the anime. It's not that complicated, right? It's like a song. You can like a song, but then you listen to it too much, and then you get tired of the song because you've listened to it so much. Okay, I was fucking with Lane at least maybe 4 or 5 years before it's total mainstream domination, right? Probably longer than that, depending on what you consider the timeline of Lane's popularity curve. Not only was I fucking with Lane, but I was fucking with Lane super intensely. I was obsessive about this anime. I spent all of my free time on a website called Lane Chan, which was all about Lane, and talking to people about Lane. I wrote a dissertation about Lane. I watched the show 8 times. I read Nightmare of Fabrication. I read all of the translated texts from the game, the PSX game. I obsessively found every piece of information I could about Lane. I watched Text No Lies, Haibane Renmei. I even watched Nia Under 7, which is not even very good. I still haven't watched Ghost Hound, though, actually. I never got around to watching Ghost Hound. I even watched Malice Doll. A lot of laning happened. And, so a big part of my growing out of love with Lane was me listening to the song too many times. It's like how Ikareta Nito by Shinsei Kamate-chan is one of my favorite songs, but I've listened to it about 1 million times, and so it just doesn't hit the same anymore, because I've just listened to it too much, right? You need some degree of novelty for a song to keep being interesting. I think we've all experienced this, where you like a song, so you listen to it on repeat for ages, and then you get bored of it, and then you can never recapture the magic unless you wait for a really long time, which actually I did recently. Funny enough, there's this album called Endless Fantasy by Anna Managuchi, which I have had. I've listened to that album for so long. I had it on one of my first ever smartphones. I remember. I know. Now here's the thing, right? Is that there's a small minority of people who might think that I only know about Endless Fantasy because of a particular YouTuber, but I was listening to that album years before. And it's not to say that it's bad to have found out about things because of that YouTuber. There are other albums. I found out about Francis the Mute by the Mars Volta because of that YouTuber, and I like that album. There's nothing wrong with that. But I'm just saying, I've been listening to Endless Fantasy for so fucking long, right? And not only have I listened to it a bunch of times, but as I said, it was one of the few albums I actually had downloaded on my phone. And so I listened to it a lot because of that. And,
a cyber sleuth, a worshipper of Lane.
But I listened to Endless Fantasy too many times, and I eventually got bored of it, right? And then, literally today, I was looking for some music to listen to, and just out of nowhere, I was like, I want something upbeat. Let me listen to Endless Fantasy. It's been years. It's probably been 5 years since I heard that album last, right? Maybe longer than 5 years. I haven't listened to that album in ages. Let me re-listen to it. Honestly, doesn't hit the same as I remember it hitting. right? And that's not just because waited too long. Because there's other albums that I waited a long time and then come back to it and I've been like, damn, this album's so good. Actually, you know what? I had that experience recently. Maybe 2 months ago, I re-listened to all of the classic Black Sabbath albums, which again, those I also hadn't listened to maybe in like 3 years, 4 years or something. Fucking amazing. Like, it hits maybe even harder, like, so good, right? Like, there was no point where I went back and listened to Black Sabbath and was like, why did I like this again? No, Sabbath is fucking amazing. But, yeah, Anamanaguchi, it's not that the songs are bad, but they're not as good as I remember them being. That, you know, they've, yeah, so, what I mean to say is sometimes if you have overexposure to something, and then you decide to stop listening to the song and wait like a few years and then come back, you discover that it wasn't even that good to begin with. But in the case of Lane, I had this massive overexposure from myself, and then that compounded with the mainstreaming and the interneting, and now it's like, okay, well, you can't even see a picture of Lane without like associating it with all of these like BPD women and shit like that who haven't even seen the show. And so like that also poisons my experience. And you know, I won't lie, right? Like there definitely was a big part of the appeal of Lane to me is the sort of uncovering of the mystery, right? Like the plot of Lane is actually quite straightforward, but it's told in a very abstract way, right? And so it takes a while for you to actually figure out what's going on. Now, once you do figure out what's going on, it's not that complicated. It's actually a very straightforward story. But yeah, because the visuals and the manner of storytelling is quite abstract, it takes a couple watches, at least it did for me, to really understand like what was even going on. And then beyond that, there are so many little details and Easter eggs. I mean, I don't know if they call them Easter eggs, like references to other stuff and like, you know, research rabbit holes to go down, and like there's so much to it that like part of it was part of the appeal of Lane and why I liked it to begin with was for that aspect, was for the rabbit hole aspect and the feeling like I knew something that no one else did, or like only a small group of people did. That if I you know, talked about some niche event in episode 4, right, like that's just something only people who are obsessive about this show would know about. And that was part of, you know, that's I don't know if that's a valid way to enjoy a piece of art or not, but I guess what you could say is that I was in the Lane fandom. It wasn't that I was exclusively just interested in the text of Lane, but I was also invested in the fandom, and so when that fandom went to shit and had suffered a massive invasion of Normans, you know, it's no wonder that definitely compounded with my overexposure to result in my not really giving a fuck about that show anymore. I don't know, I think that's kind of interesting, right? Obviously nothing about the show itself has changed, but lots of things about me has changed, and the two ingredients here are the show and me. So even if the show hasn't changed, well, actually there's another ingredient, which is the context. So the text hasn't changed, but the reader has changed, and the context has changed. And actually, both of those other two things are just as important for the aesthetic experience as the text itself. And so those having changed does in fact change the meaning of the text, and it's changed the meaning of the text for the worse. And on top of that, you know, there are other shows I just like more. And I don't know whether I would have liked them more if I saw them in 2016, but I like them more now. I'm more interested in them now.
The part of me which thinks it is myself is not real, and every time it mistakes itself for existing, it needs punishment to establish Skinner box mechanics, because I am just a series of behaviors inside of a shell and not a human person. I am just a series of behaviors inside of a shell and not a human person. Anyone could learn a language faster if failing a card triggered a small electric shock and briefly flashed disturbing imagery on screen. Passing a card equals stimulate reward center to micro-orgasm. If you're not dripping pre-cum while doing Yankees, you're not gonna make it. Wire the shock to scale with interval length miss a 3-month card. 0.8 milliamps through the forearm tendons for 1.2 seconds while your own recorded sobs from last breakdown play underneath. Nail a mature card after 9 months. Dopamine flood plus 0.3 second prostate adjacent buzz that makes your toes curl and your vision white out for half a second. That's the only honest spaced repetition curve. Pain proportional to how badly you tried to forget. There is only lever pellet or lever pain vocab pellet kanji pain plus mother's disappointed face from 2009 superimposed over a slowly rotating gif of an empty crib. The organism is the learning. One day you look up from a 4,000-day streak and realize you haven't had a thought that wasn't auto-generated by the algorithm in 16 months. The inner voice is gone. What's left is a very fast lookup table that occasionally drools when it sees a character it knows is an easy pass. And that, finally, is fluency. Now turn the current up another 0.1 milliamps. We're reviewing Core 2K tomorrow and the shell still flinches at Shinu. Unacceptable.
If you want to know how fucked up Japanese is, right? I'm watching an episode of Puripara for my immersions, and I hear this word kosoku, and I'm like, I've heard that word before. What does it mean? So I go to look it up. It has like, this is like, sometimes in English you get like a there, and there situation, or like a two and two. But look at this, right? You got kosoku, meaning high speed. You got kosoku, meaning restriction. You got kosoku, meaning school rules. You got kosoku, meaning luminous flux. Pencil of light, beam. You've got, what is this? Kosoku, meaning stoppage. Don't forget about kosoku, meaning speed of light. And you better not forget about kosoku, meaning best student. Oh, but did you think that was it? No, there's also kosoku, meaning port regulations. Now, of course, every single one of these is spelled with different kanji, so written down, it's easy to tell which one it is. And from context, I know that in this particular episode of Puripara, it was probably this one. They were talking about school rules, so it was probably this particular one here. But nonetheless, is this not fucked? My quest for materials, I searched up Chimu Fortorasu 2 in katakana. I discovered there are precisely 2 Japanese TF2 YouTubers, because I thought if there is at least one half-decent Japanese TF2 YouTuber, that's like, cause TF2 is my autistic special interest. I will watch anything TF2 related. Like, that takes no effort on my part. So that's free immersion materials and free motivation and whatever. Like, that's just free. That's a free space. That's, yeah. There are 2 Japanese TF2 YouTubers. One of them uses that really annoying text-to-speech, Japanese text-to-speech voice that's like the Toho one. You guys, I don't know what it's called. I'm sure someone in the comments, no one in the comments is going to tell me. No one watches these videos.
Fly like a G6, I'm fly like a 40-yard screamer, knockable strike, Ronaldo free kick. I'm fly like a C3 plastic Game Boy pocket, black buttons and green tip. I'm fly like a Air Max 110Z with a mean zip. I'm fly like a Ding Lang once undo on my trousers, made some thousands, trying to make more than I can count. Second set them, got sets now, I'm top of the class with my pen game bout, and stars on my pad, ring stars in my house. Schooling MC till he drops out. I wanna see his streams drop down. Got my fans with
maybe someone could tell me what that's called. The Toho text-to-speech thing that's been around forever. Firstly, I don't think this is good immersion because it's not a natural speaking voice, and it's also speaks. So I mean, it speaks too fast for me to understand anyway, and weird because it's text to speech. So it's just bad immersion. So that's a no. And it's also just annoying. I don't like listening to it. The other one is a VTuber who is a guy who pitches their voice up with a voice changer to become a female VTuber. And that person doesn't just post TF2 videos, they post some other, like, Overwatch videos and stuff. Actually, most recently posted a video on TF2C. Only Japanese video on Team Fortress 2 Classic that I could find. And it was fun. But yeah, but that channel is really small. It only has a few hundred subscribers. And, they barely talk in the videos, so it's not good immersion material either. It's just like mostly uncommentated TF2 gameplay. But Minecraft is a different story. There are quite a few Japanese Minecraft YouTubers. I watch a lot of Minecraft YouTube to begin with, so this is good. I've struggled to find good Japanese YouTubers in the past. I don't know why I didn't just think of searching for Minecraft in Japanese, because I found a couple of good ones. But it's very interesting to see the skill gap between Japanese Minecraft YouTubers and English-speaking Minecraft YouTubers, which is to say, Western Minecraft YouTubers are fucking bangouts. They're sweats. Is bangout an English-only slang? It means sweat. Bang out means sweat. Ignore that. I think, like, the Western Minecraft community has a stronger emphasis on competitive game modes like Bed Wars and PvP and speedrunning, which means that mechanical competency is more highly valued. This is a roundabout way of saying the Japanese guys are not as good at the game as the Western guys are. They're not. Some of them are actively bad at the game. Some of them, like this guy, are just like normal. But like, you look at like Western Minecraft YouTubers. Look at like Recrap, for example. Like Recrap is like pretty much all of the Western Minecraft YouTubers. Like they have some exceptional skill. Recrap is a really good all-rounder, but he's one of the best speedrunners in the world. He just also happens to be a YouTuber. But he is like a top 50 MCSR player, which is very impressive given how competitive it is. And so he is extremely mechanically good at the game. Then you have pretty much all of the lifesteal people have some sort of PvP background. So there's a lot of really good PvPers. And then you have like the Hermitcraft people, and like those guys are all really, really good builders, and also a lot of them, like Dockham or Etho, have a lot of deep technical knowledge about the game and make insane farms and stuff like that. None of this, to my knowledge, exists in the Japanese Minecraft YouTube space. That these guys don't take the game as seriously. They don't play it like that. They just play it more like more of a chill experience. And another thing, they don't fucking build any houses. I don't know why this is, but this is like the third Minecraft Let's Play I've watched where the guy just leaves. You can actually see in this where I have it paused. The guy just leaves all of his chests and bed and stuff just outside, and a creeper has blown it up twice, and he still hasn't built any fucking walls. Like, what is he doing? I mean, this guy's not bad at the game. He's doing a hardcore let's play, as you can tell from the totem and the day 49 in the corner. The day Yonju Q in the corner. But where's your fucking walls? Where's your house? Kabe wa doko? Ie wa doko? Is wa even correct? You don't even need a particle in that sentence. Like, you can just say kabe doko, ie doko. You can just say that, actually. But I think that's very informal. There must... Is it ga? That's the only thing I can... Is it... It can't be war. Is it... It can't be war. Kabe wa doko... No, that doesn't sound right. It can't be war. Kabe ga doko... That doesn't sound right either. It sounds... Wa sounds right to me. I don't know all of... I watched the Cure Dolly videos, but I don't know all of the rules. I just have them like unconsciously in my brain. Wa sounds correct, but I can't think of why it's correct. Someone correct me. That's what I'm saying here, okay? Your Takara Boko are in danger. So anyway, watching all of these Minecraft videos is giving me lots of really great Japanese immersion. I'm learning Japanese words like Diamondo Sodo. Actually, they say Dayaken. They shorten diamonds to Daya. But I'm learning all sorts of useful Japanese terminology like Rapisurazuri. And I forgot. There were some other funny ones. What I mean to say is, a lot of the terminology is just the same, so it's not actually. I don't know how actually good it is, but no, it's pretty good. And most importantly, this video is like 4 hours long, and I'm gonna watch the whole thing, which is pretty much that's all I need, right? I just need lots. Sorry, I mean, I hate talking about this stuff. I got distracted. I didn't mean to actually talk about that. I just wanted to talk about the differences between the Japanese Minecraft as being worse at the game. But like, that's not to knock on them. They're still entertaining. They play it more like an RPG. I guess what I meant, right, is like when I'm playing Minecraft, there's no fucking way I would have ever gotten to this stage in the game where I have raided end cities, I have a bunch of totems, elytra, all this stuff, with not a single farm. Like, this guy doesn't have an iron farm. You know, if I were playing hardcore Minecraft, I was on day 49, I would have, at the very fucking least, an iron farm, a gold farm. Probably I would have prioritized, some sort of just like basic mob grinder. Probably an XP farm. Every time he needs to repair his tools, he has mending on his tools. Every time he needs to repair his tools, he goes to the nether and mines quartz. He doesn't have an XP farm, so that's how he grinds XP to repair his mending tools. He goes to the nether and mines quartz. He doesn't even go to the deep dark and mine skulk. I don't even know if this was made when the deep... No, how old is this video? The deep dark was in the game. He doesn't go to the deep dark and mine skulk, which is the most effective way to get XP quickly. He doesn't have an ender, so he doesn't have any sort of XP farm. So he has to go. So he just goes and mines quartz, which is just insane. It's a fucking insane way to play the game. And this is not just this guy. I watched a different Minecraft hardcore let's play. That guy also didn't have a single automatic farm. He had a giant sugarcane farm that he harvested by hand every single time. He had a fucking potato and carrot farm. I'm thinking in Japanese, potato and carrot farm, and he harvested it all by hand, like everything by hand. They just don't do. Where's your fucking iron farm, man? Like iron farm is like day one priority, right? Like the game doesn't even start until you have an iron farm, right? But the thing is, what these guys are doing is actually playing the fucking game instead of automating all of the parts of the game and then getting bored in a week because you've automated everything and the only things left are like insanely big projects to automate even more stuff and then you just burn out. Instead of doing that, these guys are actually playing the game, which is something I could probably learn from. Like having to actually go and mine iron every time you need iron is like, oh, that's a pain. But like maybe that's a good thing.